Me TV, aka Stephen A. Sith. That's right, we back on gaming. You know what? I'm getting real tired of seeing this. I try to take a break and say I'll be back. As I said before, I'll be dipping in and out here and there. But then as soon as I say something like that, some shit happens. So let's get into this. I am so tired of seeing games get a bad rap. And I don't understand this, why it always has to be blamed. I don't understand it. Just because you play video games does not mean you're going to be a criminal. Okay? Let's just get that straight. So, it's always some political idiot who does this. Not to mention the same political idiots who don't have a connection with reality, or should I say their constituents. Alright, so as far as I'm concerned, this just has to stop. It has to stop. So if y'all don't know what I'm talking about, let's look at what's going on in France. So let's check it out.
Enfin, les plateformes et les réseaux sociaux jouent un rôle considérable dans les mouvements des derniers jours. Nous avons vu sur plusieurs d'entre elles, Snapchat, TikTok et plusieurs autres, à la fois l'organisation de rassemblements violents se faire, mais une forme de mimétisme de la violence, ce qui, chez les plus jeunes, conduit à une forme de sortie du réel. Et on a le sentiment parfois que certains d'entre eux vivent dans la rue les jeux vidéo qui les ont intoxiqués. Mais nous prendrons dans les prochaines heures, nous avons commencé à l'organiser, plusieurs dispositions. D'abord, en lien avec ces plateformes, d'organiser le retrait des contenus les plus sensibles.
No. Before we even get started on the video game part, the fact that you're trying to use social media, or say we're working with social media, and trying to cut down the information. You can't stop the information, alright? No matter how sensitive or graphic it can be, you can't stop information. This is the internet. Once it's on the internet, it's not going anywhere. The internet never forgets. Now, let's get started with why he said video games. Because video games poisons the minds of these people to go out and riot. Wait a minute. Didn't some cop shoot a kid? And that's why people are rioting? And you want to blame video games? It's always these type of people who blame video games when it comes to violence. They never talk about the good things in video games. So let's get started with that, shall we? In RPGs, they help with critical thinking, making decisions, and consequences to the decisions, not to mention, well, I should say some back in the day. These days, they do voice acting. Back in the day, it helped with reading comprehension, okay? Let's talk about FPS games, all right? FPS games, we already know, hand-eye coordination. You have to be very good at hand-eye coordination if you're going to play FPS games. It's just that simple, okay? Let's talk about mind games, all right? As we know, there's Brain 100 and all these type of WarioWares and everything, stuff like that. They're all puzzle games and things of that nature to get your mind moving, to keep your brain active. All right. Not to mention, I've reported in a number of times, but we've seen video games help blind people be able to see again. We've seen video games help the elderly, be able to stay more active, with Wii bowling or Switch bowling. We've seen video games help people, as if some of y'all had told me yourselves on Twitter, that it helps you with muscular problems in your body. You weren't going to be able to walk again, and it actually helped you get the courage to do something. Not to mention, a while ago when I did streaming for the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia, and I did Kingdom Hearts. I'm sure y'all remember that stream, Kingdom Hearts. One person came to me and said that Kingdom Hearts saved their life. Yeah. So this is how I see things. You always look at the great things in gaming and the positives that it can bring. But for some reason, they always have to use this fallback and blaming video games for everything. And with that said, some of you sent me this saying, look, while the riots is going on, this is what this guy is doing. Get this fucking guy out of here. You gonna tell me he's dancing and shit while there's riots going on? Talk about irresponsible. And you wanna talk about restrictions? You should already know by now. The internet is undefeated and it will stay that way. So you gonna have to learn the hard way, bruh. I'm just letting you know that now. With that said, since we're already talking about restrictions, let's get into it. For those who do not know, I'm gonna talk about this. The ESRB plans facial recognition for age checker, alright, for age verification. That's right. So now we're talking about restrictions when it comes to video games and using facial recognition. Let's get into this, all right? The ESRB has proposed a new concept to allow for better parental control over kids playing video games, which involves facial recognition. What happened to just being parents? That ain't enough? That's not enough these days. Okay, just want to put that out there real quick, all right? So let's move on. The Video Game Ratings Board for the U.S., the ESRB, has had its new plans unearthed after the FTC put them for public opinion. Sorry, this is a little kind of small text for me. It says, dubbed privacy protection facial age estimation, the tech would allow parents to upload a photo of themselves to give permission to their child to play certain games. This also doesn't appear to be about mature games, but video games in general. So here we go. So it's not about mature games and blood and violence. This is about video games across the board. So they're not even starting small. They're just going across the board with this. All okay. All right, whatever. All right. In China, Tencent. Fucking Tencent. All right, Tencent launched a similar program that requires children to use facial recognition to get more time to play games. Here, the ESRB appears to be proposing a new method to parental locks rather than the restrictions. So here we go. It goes to show you that they will do anything. And that's what this comes down to. I'm going to keep reading this because there's more to read. But they'll do anything to take this power out of the parents' hands and say, this is what we're going to do. I just don't understand it. I don't understand this at all. Like, be parents. That's all you fucking gotta do. Watch what your child is playing instead of having the game. Use them as a babysitter. That's what you should be. Okay, let's go on. The system will work by having parents upload a camera-taken selfie to the server, where it would go through the algorithm. Should we talk about algorithms? Should we talk about how fucked up algorithms can be? Okay, let's just keep going. If it determines that the parent is of right age, it'll allow them to unlock games for playing. This could be done for those parents okay with letting kids play mature games like GTA 5. It says, or as a way to clamp down on too much video game time. It says it's not just the ESRB that's getting involved. Epic Games. Now look, Epic Games. If we can connect the dots back to Epic Games and Tencent, you're definitely going to find something, right? Okay. Epic Games own super awesome and facial recognition company, Yoti, have all joined forces in asking the FTC to approve the tech. Super Awesome aims to build, and it says here, a safer internet for the next generation. I don't believe that at all. Again, we can talk about how the internet's never defeated, and it's always going to find a way in. It's always. You can keep putting parental locks on stuff. People are going to find ways to bust it. It's that simple. All you're doing is giving a new challenge. That's all you're doing. And if you know anything about video games when it comes to challenges, no matter how down and out you are, you still got a chance to prove yourself and win. And that's what video games have taught these people, to relentlessly keep going to win. You're not going to beat gamers. You're just not. Okay, let's keep going. In the proposal, all three companies involved claim that they would delete the images of the server immediately after. However, other companies that claim this, like Snapchat, have often been caught out still storing the information on servers. Now, look, that's one thing I have a problem with, all right? I understand that we already give these companies, you know, you look at the terms of service and you just glance over them and you say, okay, whatever, I'll give you my data, I'll give you this. But when you have to deal with this straight up in your face, it's a whole different story, literally in your face. But let's get started. This could lead to security risk, and if a child tries to upload a photo of themselves to get around it, could expose them. All right? So they don't have this figured out fully just yet. All right? So they shouldn't even be talking about, as far as I'm concerned, if you don't have plans A through Z for it. I'm just saying. The FTC is now asking the general public to submit their opinions on the ESRB's new method, which, as PC Gamer pointed out, insists that it won't subject users to potential biases. Now, this is where we're going to get started, because this is the last line in the article, all right? This is a polite way of saying that facial recognition technology often has issues with racial bias when scanning non-white faces. Really? That's where we're going. They just keep trying to make shit harder. all right? And you don't have the technology figured out yet, but you want it to pass so quick that you work on it as you go along. No, this isn't DLC, buddy. That's not how it works. We're talking about taking people's face and their likeness and their data and whatever the hell else you're going to do with it. And you're talking about just push it through. Just push it. No. And then you're telling us that you have problems with the ethnicity. So how are you going to get around this? I mean, seriously, if the technology is not up to standard, how do you expect this stuff to keep going? Or should I say, even get off the ground? I mean, I just don't understand it. So they want you to file a comment at the ESRB, and you know what? They're going to get a bunch of mad mommies and, I don't know, a bunch of dads, who don't know anything. Again, these people don't understand video games, all right? It's always good to have a parent who can relate to what's going on, and guide them in the right way and say, hey, this is what you're supposed to do, this is what you're not supposed to do when you're playing games, and this is how you're supposed to act accordingly. And we all know the whole thing about that. But when you have a parent just sit here and just make the game the babysitter and then say, I didn't know what I was buying for my kid, I didn't know that it was this violent, I didn't know it had all these things and these themes in it, and I want games to change. That's absolutely wrong. The games don't need to change. You need to adapt. That's what it is. As a person, to understand what your child is playing. Or what's the hot thing these days? I mean, seriously, does nobody sit down on Twitter or on Facebook or whatever and says, okay, what's interesting today? What's interesting? And I don't mean a bunch of drama and bullshit. I'm talking about tech. I'm talking about news. No one reads the news anymore? Is that where I'm going with this? I mean, do I really have to go there? I don't understand this. It's like the level of critical thinking has dropped down to zero. That's what it feels like. It's unreal that these people, these companies, these corporations want to devour every part. First you want restrictions. No, dude. Now you're data mining. Like, that's what people are going to end up doing. They're going to data mine the shit out of everything. And, you're collecting data, it gets mined. Then people get shocked when they find out all this bullshit is going on. I don't know, man. Either way, there has to be something done about it. So even if you don't say anything to the ESRB on their form or whatever, gamers at this point, as far as I'm concerned, they should be a little offended given the fact that you're taking a little bit of the freedom away. You don't trust us enough? Is that it? You don't trust your kid enough? I mean, what is it here? Anyways, let's talk about it. I'll be back soon. Y'all take care of yourselves. Let's talk about it in the comment section. Until then, y'all be safe. I'm out.